after the acquisition of Micah Parsons. They've gotten so good at pass rushing that has allowed their corners to sit at the top of these wide receivers' routes. They know that Micah and company are going to get to the quarterback quick, so the corners are now able to jump the routes a little bit. They're not really dropping back all that far. They're expecting quick throws by Jaden Daniels, and that's what they saw. That's exactly what they saw. So they were able to just hang tight and jump a lot of routes, cause a lot of passes batted, and the Commanders' offense was really stymied. Micah was able to get a lot of pressures. Keyshawn Nixon was able to get, I want to say, at least 3 PBUs. And on the other hand, the Packers' offense, they were just rolling. Like, in the passing game, no problems whatsoever. Even with Jaden Reed going down early in the first quarter, Tucker Kraft just picked up all the slack. He was really the standout guy for this group of Packers wide receivers that doesn't have a true, alpha, no true clear number one. Even though Reed goes down, Tucker Kraft just owns up to the moment. He has a magnificent day. The most receiving yards by any Packers tight end since Richard Rodgers over a decade ago. And defensively, the Commanders, they were getting picked apart specifically by Marshawn Lattimore, Marshawn Lattimore. Not the same guy that he was a few years ago. We used to see him battle with Mike Evans head to head, and it was great year in, year out. Now, he's getting cooked. He's getting cooked by anyone and everyone. And yeah, as far as Jaden Daniels, not able to get anything with his legs in this game. Every time he tried to escape the pocket, they shut him down very quickly. And yeah, even towards the end of the game, in terms of injuries, we saw Austin Eckler late in the fourth go down with a non-contact injury. It was a tough sight. I think at the beginning of the game, we saw Dietrich Wise off the field, had to be carted off the field, which was not nice. And then by the end of it, Austin Eckler as well. So the Commanders took a beating both in game and to their players in this game. Just a rough Thursday night performance for them. My takeaways from this game: number one, we've seen 2 very respectable wins from the Packers. At this moment, they look like the most complete team in the league so far. I will say, after the Micah Parsons edition, I was trying not to get too caught up in the hype. Obviously, he's a great player, generational type talent, but I was still weary about their cornerbacks. And yeah, the way that their pass rush has looked, their defense just as a unit is working so well together, keeping the Commanders and the Lions completely in check. 2 teams that were at the top of the NFC last year. So if they're able to play like this week in and week out, it's not going to be long until they are the Super Bowl favorites. And yeah, as for the Commanders, Austin Eckler, he was ruled out for the rest of the season with a torn Achilles. So that means we're going to see a lot more of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who in this game only saw 1 carry. Kind of surprising, they trade away Brian Robinson Jr., they only give the rookie 1 tote the entire game. But even with Chris Rodriguez getting reactivated or back to, we'll see him play a bit more, but I do think this means overall going forward a lot more Bill in their offense. After that, we can move into our Sunday stretch of games, and boy, it was a fun Sunday morning. Week 2 delivered. We're going to start off with my favorite game of this period, the Patriots versus the Dolphins. The Patriots, they dominated early in this game, which is not something I've been able to say in a long time. They quickly got on the board with a Mac Hollins touchdown, and on their next drive, they were able to get another touchdown off of the hands of Keyshawn Boutte. And unfortunately, with the good has to come the bad. Patriots still don't have their kicker in the first half. The Patriots have held the ball for like 22 minutes. They've scored on 3 straight drives. It feels like they're up a lot, but the score is only 15-7. The Dolphins get the ball with maybe like 90 seconds left in the first half. Absolutely charge down the field. From 30 yards out, Tua throws a pass to Devon Achane in the middle of the field, and he is just so electric that he weaves past everyone and into the touchdown for the score. He breaks like 2 tackles while doing so as well in the final 8 yards. And just like that, it is now just a 15-14 game heading into the half. Patriots doing pretty much everything right offensively, and on defense, one drive, the first Jalen Waddle drive, nothing crazy, but that really fell apart in the 2-minute drill. It was a hard watch. And in the third quarter, Miami takes the lead at this point with a field goal, and then they get another Riley Patterson field goal, so now they're up 20-15, and I won't lie, I'm a little pissed, because we were doing really well in the first half. All of a sudden, down by 5 points, we're going to need to score another touchdown to make up this mark. And luckily we do. Drake May is able to use his legs, scrambles in for the touchdown. Great to see him back and utilizing his God-given talents. You know, we didn't see a lot of that in week 1, but he does scramble in for one. We go for 2 to bring it up to a 23-20 lead, and Ramondre Stevenson is able to punch it in. After that, we see a Dolphins punt, followed by a Patriots punt. And on the Patriots punt, it is fielded by Malik Washington, and pretty much immediately, it looks like he's about to get blown up, but he sheds the tackle and takes it 74 yards to the house to give the Dolphins a 27-23 lead. It was brutal. I mean, just a fantastic move by Washington. I don't even know how he managed to escape the tackle, but once he got off that first, maybe a second guy, just took it upfield off the left sideline for 60 yards and scored. So yeah, every time we get ahead, it's just like they strike right back. And so, on the very next play, the Dolphins kick the ball off to Antonio Gibson, and he responds with his own house call. So one play later, we just saw a punt return for a touchdown. Now we get a kick return for a touchdown. And so I am ecstatic. You know, I thought it was going to be a long road ahead, but no, just like that, we're back on top, 30-27. We have the lead again. The Dolphins, they get the ball, and Tua throws a pick. So the Patriots were able to capitalize, get 3 more points on the board. They're now up 33-27. yards over his head, and would have been a touchdown, would have given them the lead. And Tyreek just like walked off the field, didn't walk back to the huddle, just walked off the field and was like complaining. So I don't know how long. I think his days are numbered. The street rumors didn't get helped by this game. And Mike McDaniel, yeah, if they can't get the turnovers and the defense in order, I don't know if he makes it through the season, to be honest, because they're looking pretty bad. So that brings us to our next game, my second favorite game of the morning slate. By the way, my setup this past morning, it was a fun one. I had Patriots, Dolphins on one screen. I had Red Zone on another. I had Bears, Lions, and Jets, Bills. That was at least for the first half of the setup. It was those three screens plus Red Zone on like a multi-stream, streamiest multi-stream. And then in the second half, swapped out the Bills game for Cowboys, Giants, and then eventually swapped in, wasn't Bengals and Jags, what was the other one? I think it was the Rams, Titans, yeah. Anywho, so yeah, I got to see the second half of the Giants-Cowboys game, and crazy games. The game started off relatively quiet with two Giants field goals in the first quarter, and the Cowboys, they were able to respond with a field goal in the second, and both teams finally were able to get onto the board with a touchdown from Malik Neighbors and a touchdown from Devontae Turpin. So heading into halftime, the score was 13-10 in favor of the Giants, and this is where I really started tuning in. The Cowboys opened the second half with an interception, but the Giants didn't do much with it. They just turn it over on downs. The Cowboys take advantage of the field position, and they are able to punch it in with a 30-yard Javonte Williams touchdown run. The Giants, they have a field goal after that, which allows them to cut the lead 16-17 heading into the fourth. Nothing too crazy at this point, but the game really takes off in the fourth. The Cowboys, they open the quarter with a field goal, and then the Giants answer with a 1-yard Cam Scatterbo touchdown run to go up 23-20. After that, the Cowboys, they march down the field and retaliate with a 4-yard touchdown run from Miles Sanders. But the Giants strike right back with a 32-yard touchdown pass to Wan'Dale Robinson. So it's back and forth. Now it went from pretty good defensively to just everyone scoring on every drive. The Cowboys, they're down 3 points with 2 minutes and 44 seconds left. So they are entering their 2-minute drill offense. They construct an 11-play, 71-yard drive that ends with a 6-yard George Pickens touchdown. So at this point, it looks like they're ready to win the game. But the Giants, with their backs against the wall, 52 seconds left on the clock, they somehow, in just 3 plays, managed to score on a 48-yard touchdown strike to Malik Neighbors. I mean, he was double covered, just ran a go route essentially, and the Russell Wilson moon ball was delivered perfectly. So a shocker. So now Giants are up 37-34. The Cowboys have 25 seconds on the clock to try and tie it up and send it to overtime. They get some yardage, but they're only able to set Brandon Aubrey up for a 64-yarder to try and tie this game. And yeah, Aubrey's a great kicker, but 64 yards for the tie is insane snakes. And Aubrey delivers. He nails it through the uprights. We're headed to overtime. Once we get to the overtime period, both teams, they struggle. It goes poorly. We see the Cowboys punt, then we see the Giants punt, then we see the Cowboys punt again. able to play a lot more conservatively. They just need to get in field goal range and kick a potential game-winning kick. They set up Brandon Aubrey for a 46-yarder instead of a 64-yarder this time around. And with zeros on the clock, he manages to hit it through the uprights once again. Cowboys win the game 40-37. My takeaways here: give Brandon Aubrey the keys to the city, man. He is honestly the best player on that roster. Micah is gone. You could make an argument for CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is plenty talented in his own way, but Brandon Aubrey, wow. Just, I envy the Cowboys kicking. And for the Giants, even though you lose in this game, that's a fun one to lose. I think you got to see Russell Wilson turn it up again. 400 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Sure, he had that late pick, but other than that, he was cooking. And that Malik Neighbors connection was on point. So, if you're gonna lose, at least do it in spectacular fashion. I've gotta imagine Giants fans are pretty okay with the loss here, all things considered. And after that, we move into our next exciting game of the morning slate. This is gonna be the Bengals versus the Jaguars. First quarter opened up with a Trevor Lawrence touchdown to De'Ami Brown. And the Bengals on their next series, they are only able to go 3 and out, but Trevor Lawrence throws a pick on his next drive. So the Bengals respond with a Burrow to Jamar Chase touchdown. That connection was not good in week 1 at all. Playing the Browns defense, now they get a much softer coverage against the Jaguars. They're able to tap into that connection. So heading into the second quarter, the game is tied up at a measly 7-7. Sorry, did I say second half or second quarter? Yeah, second quarter. We see the Jaguars start off the scoring in the second with an 8-yard touchdown to Bashal Tutin. And then all Bengals fans are hard to sink to their chest as Joe Burrow gets sacked and he essentially limps to the locker room. You know, he looks hurt on the sack, he's on the sideline for a while, then he makes his way to the locker room and he's not able to pull his full weight on his foot. Something's definitely wrong. So Jake Browning comes in to replace him. And not too long after that, Trevor Lawrence throws another pick, and this time the Bengals are only able to kick a field goal. So they got the lead to 10-14. The Jaguars, after that, they score a field goal of their own. And Jake Browning, in trying to respond, throws his first pick of the day. So the halftime lead is in favor of the Jaguars, 17-10. We start the second half with a 13-yard touchdown between Jake Browning and Dinsley. I don't even remember Dinsley's first name, but it was like, who is that guy? Like, who had Browning to Dinsley on their fantasy this week? Not me. Anywho, the Jags then go 3 and out, but we see Jake Browning throw his second pick of the day and get the ball right back to the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence then completes a 12-yard touchdown pass to Travis Etienne so that the Jags can go up 24-17. And the Bengals, they tie it up 24-24 off a 42-yard D. Higgins catch. So entering the fourth quarter, game's all tied up. Jacksonville then gets a field goal, and I don't know what I wrote here, but yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars then get a field goal, and Jake Browning then throws his third interception of the day to set up the Jacksonville Jaguars at the 23-yard line with 5 minutes left. Horrible, absolutely horrible. His performance from Jake Browning up until this point. Yes, he had the great throw to D. Higgins, and he's had the 2 touchdowns, but 3 picks. He is selling the game for them. drops it, like point blank drops it, causes the Bengals to take over. They then march down the field, and Jake Browning tucks it in on a quarterback sneak, on a quarterback run, and wins the game 31-27 for the Bengals. Yeah, it was a rowdy one. Takeaways for this game, I mean, it's all over the place. Number one, Joe Burrow. He is rumored to need surgery for a grade 3 turf toe injury, and if he does get surgery, he'll have to miss 3 months. If that's the case, Bengals season's pretty much done. It's like 2 years ago when he got hurt. Like, yeah, the roster, the offense is somewhat good. Maybe you can still win some games. But taking a look at last season, like, Joe Burrow played the entire year. You had one of the best offenses in all of football. You still couldn't make the playoffs. If Joe Burrow really has to miss that much time, the season's cooked. Yeah, that's rough. For the Jaguars, how did you lose this game, man? Like, Jake Browning gave you 3 interceptions. That red zone score, like, the red zone non-score, baffling. Ryan Thomas Jr., a putrid first 2 weeks of the year. He had 4 catches on 12 targets so far this year. There's just no chemistry between him and Trevor Lawrence thus far. He did score in week 1 off of a rushing play, but outside of that, the BTJ's stocks are at an all-time low. And yeah, the Jags lost this game by going 3-6 in the red zone. If you pick up even one more of those, you probably win this game. So, gotta be better in that stretch of the field, and you have to capitalize on these turnovers more than you did. It just kind of a lousy showing. If you can't beat Jake Browning with his 3 picks, there's not many teams you can't beat. So yeah, that brings us to our next game, which was the Seahawks versus the Steelers. The Seahawks open up the game with a Sam Darnold touchdown to Torrey Holton, and the Steelers strike right back with a field goal. But then Jalen Ramsey was able to pick off Sam Darnold to regain possession for the Steelers. The Steelers settled for a field goal again, making it 6-7. But then the Seahawks missed a field goal off of the legs of Jason Myers. The Steelers then go 3-and-out on back-to-back drives, but Sam Darnold throws another pick on 4th down near the red zone for the Seahawks. The Steelers are able to construct a solid drive and finally get a touchdown on the board with a pass from Aaron Rodgers to DK Metcalf. They then go for 2 and are able to convert with Washington making the catch to go up 14-7 heading into halftime. After that, we see the Steelers punt to start in the 3rd, and the Seahawks are able to score on a 7-yard touchdown pass from Sam Darnold to A.J. Warner. Steelers then go down the field to retake the lead, but Aaron Rodgers ends up throwing a pick at the goal line instead. It comes up off of Calvin Austin's hands, and it really is a tragic pick because it was going to the corner for Pat Freiermuth. Calvin Austin jumps in front of it, mongles the catch, and it goes to the Seahawks DB, so it really ruined it for his team. Then the Seahawks open up the 4th quarter with a field goal to go up 17-14. Game is still anybody's, but on the kickoff, the Seahawks are kicking off to a rookie, Caleb Johnson, and he almost muffs the punt. He goes to catch it and he misses it, so he thinks oh, I didn't touch it, it's okay. They can't grab it, it's not a live ball. But the rules have changed. If a kickoff is between, I think, the 35-yard line in the red zone, or on a kickoff, if you don't down it, you have to field it and take it out. So to just sit there in the end zone. The Seahawks jump on top of it, and they score an easy 7 points. Huge, huge blunder by the rookie. And so, with that, it's now, 24-14. The Steelers then kick a field goal to make it 24-17, but the Seahawks extend their lead once again with a 19-yard touchdown run from Kenneth Walker. At this point, there's just 4 minutes left in the game. The Steelers are down 14 points, and Aaron Rodgers throws an untimely pick, and the game is essentially over. So, yeah, Steelers lose it in embarrassing fashion at 31-17. And really, all I can say is, you guys, well, the Steelers definitely sold this game. This was in their hands. They could have won it. I'm not saying that it was definitely theirs to win, but that Calvin Austin interception in the end zone, plus the Caleb Johnson not even muff, but just special teams fiasco, that's a 14-point swing in a game where you lost by 14 points. So really, it was anyone's game, and you threw the game away pretty much all in like the last quarter and a half. So, huge choke job. And for the Seahawks, I will say, not the prettiest of games. Week 1 was not pretty. Week 2, also not pretty. But at least this time, they were able to force all their miscues into the first half. And in the second half, just play solid football. So, good job on the Seahawks on getting their jitters out early. They walk away with a well-needed win. And the Steelers, they come back to reality. Their offense did not look nearly as good as it did 2 weeks ago. Or a week ago. Next up, we have the Rams versus the Titans. The Rams started the game with a 45-yard touchdown run from Puka Nacua on a 4th and 1 jet sweep. The Titans then open up the second with a field goal, and the Rams respond with a field goal of their own to maintain a 10-7 lead. Both teams go on to trade punts, and the Titans tie it up with a beautiful Cam Ward crossbody touchdown to Malik Ayomanour. I don't know the last time I've seen a rookie make a play like that, where he's running to his right, throws it like 30 yards across his body to the left to an Ayomanour that's sprinting in the other direction. And yet, even though it's an 8-yard pass, it travels through the air so much, and it's a perfect ball. So yeah, the Titans, there's no in it. The Rams, with 32 seconds left in the first half, they threw a pick, and it leads to a Titans field goal. So, the Titans are actually up at halftime, 13-10. Second half opens up with a Rams field goal to bring it back to 13-13. Titans score another field goal to make it 16-13. And in just 4 plays on their next drive, the Rams are able to score on a touchdown pass to take the lead. The game at this point ends into the 4th quarter, and the Titans cough up a costly fumble that leads to yet another Rams touchdown, this time caught by Devontae Adams. The Titans go 3-and-out, and then the Rams score on another Blake Corum touchdown run to go up 33-16. We get a garbage time field goal from the Titans, and the final score is 33-19. My takeaways from this one: the Titans, they played 3 good quarters of football. They haven't pulled out a win yet in their first 2 weeks, but their defense, for like 7 quarters this year, has held up very nicely. I have to say, overall, yes, they are undue, but I'm impressed with the way that they're playing. They haven't made life easy for their opponents in any way. As for their offense, though, it's not even Ward, it's just the O-line. We saw him get sacked 6 times in week 1. Week 2, we saw Cam Ward hit the deck 5 times. And as a unit, they got penalized 10 times. You just can't have that happen. For the Rams, though, I'd say that Stafford looked pretty good. Week 1, he was just okay. Get that ugly win over the Texans. But this week, he was able to get it clicking, especially with Devontae Adams. So, we'll look to see how that connection builds over over the course of the season. Next up, we have a matchup between the Ravens and the Browns. The game comes off to a rather slow start, with the Ravens taking a 3-0 lead. Then, the second quarter we saw brought many gifts for the Ravens, as they had a block punt that turned into a touchdown, a 15-yard touchdown catch by Tylan Wallace. 4 punts later, the Browns finally scored their first points of the game, a field goal, and then the game goes into half 10-3 in favor of the Ravens. The Ravens opened up the third quarter with a field goal, and then Joe Flacco interception led to a 2-yard touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. Then we see the Browns go down the field and score on a 19-yard touchdown catch by Cedric Tillman. So it's 10-20. The deficit is now. But the fourth quarter is all Ravens. They go to score a touchdown on offense. Then Roquan Smith gets a scoop and score on defense. Then they get a stop on fourth down against the Browns. And then they score a final touchdown on a crazy DeAndre Hopkins catch. They actually had 2 crazy DeAndre Hopkins catches in this game. One got marked down at the 1, and the other one went on to remain a touchdown. The Browns at this point, they sub in Dylan Gabriel. They get a garbage time touchdown out of him, and they lose the game 17-41. So, takeaways from this game. Was in the first half, things were a little too close for comfort for the Ravens, but by the end of the game, they ended up showing their true colors. They were as good as they always can be. 10-3 at half, it looked like maybe they were going to pull off another one of their signature choke jobs. They might actually lose to the Browns in week 2, but then their fourth quarter, they just got hot, and when they get hot, they're one of the best teams in football. The Browns, they were in over their head. Like, there's no way they are as good of a team as the Ravens, but there was a slight chance they might be able to pull this off. And all things considered, I think they did pretty well. They hung around for 3 quarters. That's as much as you can really ask. And if there's one thing that they should be proud of, it's the fact that they held the Ravens to just 45 yards rushing. That's kind of unheard of. The Ravens, they grow just about anyone for 200. At the very least, they go on for 100. So holding Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson to under 50 yards combined, absolutely great. Next up, we've got the Bills versus the Jets. A game that I thought was going to be fun, but it really was a disastrous game for the Jets. They start out with a 3-and-out, and the Bills go on to get a touchdown. We see Josh Allen kind of get hurt early in this game. He's got a lot of blood coming out of his nose, but he does just fine. Then the Jets, they go on to immediately fumble the ball, which leads to a Bills field goal. So the Bills are up 10-0. That very quickly turns into a 20-0 after James Cook scores a touchdown and they score a field goal. The Jets finally respond with a field goal of their own to make it 20-3. So that's the halftime score. But in the third quarter, we see a Bills field goal and then another long touchdown drive from the Bills, and they go up 30-3. So it's over. Like, the Jets are cooked. We're in the fourth quarter, and Justin Fields get hit really hard on a play, then has to go into the concussion protocol. 4 punts later, both teams kind of just, the Jets stalling on offense and the Bills just wasting time. Now we see Tyrod Taylor in the game. He finally gets the Jets on the board with a touchdown, and the game ends with a 30-10 score favoring the Bills. Takeaways from this game: Josh Allen, he was able to take it easy. After a ridiculous game on Sunday against the Ravens, this game only like 140 yards passing, no touchdowns. That's because James Cook was dominant. He was able to slice up that Jets defense. Allen pretty effective as a rusher, but didn't have to do much at all through the air. As for the Jets, it's kind of exactly what I thought they would look like this year. Don't get me wrong, the week 1 performance was great, but it was definitely unexpected. Week 2 against the Bills is more what I was thinking this team would look like when I sat there, definitely finishing last place in the AFC East. So, regaining some confidence in that prediction with their performance this week. Next up, we had another close matchup between the 49ers and the Saints. We saw Mac Jones get the start in lieu of an injured Brock Purdy. He starts off the scoring with an 11-yard touchdown pass to Luke Farrell. The Saints then answered with an insane touchdown grab by Juwan Johnson. But the 49ers stormed down the field and scored another touchdown with the help of Mac Jones and Christian McCaffrey to go up 16-7. In the second half, the 49ers started with a fumble, and the Saints were able to score on a 3-yard Rashid Shaheed touchdown. The Niners were then able to get a field goal up to make it a 19-14 game, and the Saints fumbled. After that, Mac Jones, he throws a 42-yard touchdown strike to Juwan Jennings, but the Saints keep things interesting with a Devon Valet 3-yard touchdown catch. So at this point, the Saints are down 21-26. They force the Niners to punt on 2 straight drives, and they have a chance to take the lead with just 2:40 left on the clock. They face 4th and 1 at their own 41-yard line with a minute left. So the game's on the line, kind of like the previous week. 4th down in the red zone, they were able to not get it done. Will they do it this time around? And the answer is no. They fumble the snap, lose the game on a field 4th and 1 conversion. So, takeaways from this game: the 49ers, they improved to 2-0 with a backup quarterback taking the snaps for them. And I have to say, both Mac Jones and Spencer Rattler played above expectations in this one. Quite great games from both guys, not guys that you think of as good quarterbacks, but exceptional performances, really. They had 3 touchdown day each. The 49ers, they're in mid-season form with all these injuries. To see George Kittle go down in the game last week, so that one wasn't a surprise. The Brock Purdy injury, I guess I just didn't see it or catch anything about it, because I didn't know anything about it until like halfway through the week. And once I found out, people were saying like, oh yeah, shoulder toe injury, he might be out like 5 weeks. Like, how? When did this happen? What? Like, didn't he play the entire game? I don't know. I didn't watch enough of that 49ers game last week to know where the injury occurred. I didn't see any videos on it either. So, yeah, I don't know. 49ers kind of cursed, perpetually injured. But they managed to go to 2-0 this week. And the Saints, they've been playing respectable football, I will say. They look better than I thought they would. That being said, they haven't played a good team at full strength yet. They played the Cardinals and they lost to them. Cardinals, I think that they were always destined to be pretty mid. And the 49ers, yeah, I thought that would be more of like a real team. But with Purdy out, you get Mac Jones. So, let's see how they fare against like actual teams. But so far, they might be able to pull off wins against bad teams. Like, they don't look that awful. After that, we have the Lions and the Bears game. And it looks like the Lions just needed Ben Johnson to get back in the building because their offense went from 0 to 100 right away. Last week against the Packers, they looked cooked. Offensive line in shambles. No real offense, no running game. What happened? This week, it's night and day. They just forgot all about their performance last week. Game starts off 7-7 with touchdowns from Jahmyr Gibbs and Rome Odunze. Then the Bears have a 3-and-out, a fumble, a turnover downs, and an interception on their next 4 offensive drives. So, yeah, Bears gonna bear. The Lions turn this into a David Montgomery touchdown, a missed field goal, and a Brock Wright touchdown. So, now it is 21-7. The Bears have the ball. They managed to get another Roma Dunze touchdown, make it a 21-14 game, and this is as close as it's going to be for the rest of the way. I will say, heading into the half, we did see some poor officiating in this game. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it really mattered, but a lot of controversy about the ball placement, plus like whether, I think it was Isaac Tesla, was in or out. He got this great catch on the sideline, originally marked out, actually it was in, and the whole fiasco ends up getting the Lions 6 extra seconds on the clock that they ideally should not have had. And so, with those 6 seconds, they score another Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown to go up 28-14 in the half. And then the game just completely gets away from the Bears. Third quarter starts, and the Lions all of a sudden are up 45-14 with touchdowns from Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown once again. We see then DeAndre Swift get his first touchdown of the season, and the Lions finish it off with another Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown to win the game 52-21. Another classic Dan Campbell 50-point game. Takeaways here. Yeah, the Lions they're still excellent. They just needed a week to adjust. I don't know if this is a testament to how good the Packers are or not. I think, yeah, after losing coordinators, there was going to be an adjustment period. I just didn't think it was going to be 1 week. So, them popping out with this, I had to give them credit. As for the Bears, they're in for a rough season, man. They are staring down the barrel for, at best, a third place finish in this division. What is going to be a battle for that third even then. And I think it's just 2 weeks into the season, but they're already like quickly giving up on their playoff hopes. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, this was one of the few things I was able to call in the predictions video, in terms of just, like, I thought the Jets and Bills was going to be a shootout. It was not a shootout, but I did think that Dan Campbell was going to come out with a brutal victory over the Bears here, and that is exactly what we saw. Dan Campbell is a bad man. After that, we move into the afternoon window. This is where we saw the Broncos take on the Colts. Bo Nix starts off the game, the Colts start off the game with a field goal, and then we see a Bo Nix 23-yard touchdown to Marvin Mims to make it 77-3. The Colts then go out, get another 3 points on the board, and the Broncos go 3-and-out. The Colts capitalize on this to score their first touchdown of the game on a Daniel Jones keeper. And Bo Nix goes out and completes a 3-yard pass to Troy Franklin to take a 14-13 lead. The Colts have their first non-scoring drive of the NFL season with a turnover on downs, and Bo Nix capitalizes by throwing another touchdown strike to Adam Troutman. Luckily, the Colts are able to respond with a score on a 7-yard Jonathan Taylor catch, and the Broncos lead 21-20 at the half. Broncos start off the third quarter with a J.K. Dobbins touchdown run, and the Colts answer with a field goal. The Broncos then punt, and the Colts open the fourth with a turnover on downs. So the Broncos start with the ball at midfield, but Bo Nix throws a pick. So the Colts get the ball, they go down the field and kick a field goal. Up 28-26, the Broncos take the ball down the field, and have the chance to extend their lead to 31-26, but they miss the 42-yard field goal. So the Colts get the ball back, 3:15 left on the clock, and they set up a 60-yard game-winning try. Their kicker, Spencer Schrader, he is no Brandon Aubrey. So they go for the play. He gets the ball up. He doesn't get the kick. So Broncos win. But wait. There is a penalty flag on the field. Broncos player gets called for leverage. You're not allowed to leverage yourself up off of the line. So that's a 15-yard penalty. It turns the 60-yard game-winning attempt into a 45-yard game-winning attempt, and Spencer Schrader can knock it down from 45. So the Colts win it on a 29-28 game-winning field goal. Yikes. Takeaways. Number one, are the Colts legit? What is going on? What is going on? You blow out the Miami Dolphins in week 1, and yeah, I won't lie, I chalked it off as a fluke. I thought that this would be an interesting game. I didn't think that the Colts would win the game. This is supposed to be the best defense in football, at least in my opinion. I thought this was going to be the best defense in football. And while the Colts did only go 2 of 6 in the red zone, they had 476 yards of offense. What is happening? And yeah, if the Colts, they keep playing like this, they can take the AFC South. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen overall. I can't make that prediction, but just given what we've seen thus far, yeah, the Colts look like a great team. Like, their offense is very consistent in getting points on the board, even if it's not super flashy. Yeah, they didn't get that many touchdowns, only 2 touchdowns, but they got several, I think 6, no, do math, 5, they got 5 field goals. 5 field goals is nuts. 5 field goals plus 2 touchdowns. They had 7 scoring drives on offense again. That's insane. And yeah, for the Broncos, you choked so hard, man. It's gonna be hard to forget this one, because in 3 quarters your offense was really good, and then in the 4th quarter, just a slew of errors that cost you this game. So yeah, Broncos are going to want that back. Anyway, after that we had the Panthers versus the Cardinals. We saw Bryce Young start off this game as strong as ever with a fumble that got returned for a touchdown by the Cardinals defense. Bryce Young then put his brave face on to go back out there, and on a second drive he throws a pick. So the Cardinals, they go up 10-0 pretty quickly, and the Panthers finally start scoring in the right direction. They start moving the ball in the right direction. They get a field goal to make it a 10-13 deficit. We then get a field goal and a Michael Wilson touchdown for the Cardinals to go up 20-3. It goes into halftime. Cardinals continue to run up the score in the 3rd quarter, going up 27-3. So, classic Panthers beat down, but Panthers finally start to get things rolling. They get their first touchdown of the day with a Hunter Renfrow touchdown catch. The 2-point attempt is no good, so it's 27-9. The Cardinals, they have a 9-play drive that goes to the red zone with an interception. So the Panthers get another touchdown on the board, and it's 5 minutes left. It is now a 15-27 game. It's just gonna take some sort of miracle for this to happen. But the Cardinals, they go 3 and out. So the Panthers get the ball again, and they score again on another Hunter Renfrow touchdown just under the 2-minute mark. So the Panthers, they're down 22-27 at this point. A game where they were down 27-3. They go for the onside kick, and they recover it. So things are now all trending in the Panthers' direction. They have the ball. They have a chance to win the game. All they need to do is score another touchdown. The Cardinals, they sucks to say, untimely pullout with the loss. Oh, sorry, ultimately. I'm really tired. Ultimately pull out with the loss. But after the first two drives, Bryce Young did look pretty good. Goes for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ted McMillan, his first touchdown. No, that's not what that's supposed to say. His first 100-yard game. And the Cardinals, they moved to 2-0. But I'm not buying it. I think that both of their wins have been really close wins against much worse teams. Last week against the Saints, you struggled way more than you should have. And this week, you almost blew a historic lead to the Panthers. So yeah, you moved to 2-0. You're right up there with the rest of the division. I feel actually pretty bad about this team. And I'm interested in seeing how they're going to perform against teams that are not like bottom 5 offenses from the previous year. So yeah, we move into our last game of the afternoon slot. This was the Super Bowl rematch, the Eagles versus the Chiefs. The Eagles opened up the game with a punt. The Chiefs then went 3 and out. The Eagles also went 3 and out. And then Harrison Butker got set up for a 58-yard field goal, but he missed it. So the Eagles, they're able to capitalize with a Saquon Barkley touchdown run. Butker redeems himself with a 56-yard field goal, and the Chiefs are now only losing 3-7. After that, the Eagles go 3 and out, and the Chiefs march down the field, and Mahomes is able to run it in to get the Chiefs up to a 10-7 lead. The Eagles then use the final 2:44 in the first half to set up a Jake Elliott 58-yarder, and the game is tied 10-10 heading into halftime. Kansas City starts with the ball in the second half, and they go for it on 4th and 1 from their own 36-yard line, and they fumble the snap. So the Eagles are able to take over, and the Eagles don't really do anything. Like, they don't advance the ball at all. So they have to settle with a 51-yard field goal. After that, Kansas City and Philadelphia, they trade punts. Kansas City constructs a deep drive to penetrate into Eagles territory, and it puts them at the goal line. Mahomes places the ball in Travis Kelce's hands in the end zone, essentially. Kelce bobbles the pass, and it gets picked off and taken up the sideline. And honestly, if it wasn't for the big lineman, Eagles would have had a pick 6, but big fella moves, drags down the ball, and prevents the score. It doesn't really matter. Eventually, the Eagles take it down the field on 4th and goal. They get their tush push to put it through, and yeah, now they're up 10 points. Both teams then punt the ball, and the Chiefs, they start with the ball down 10 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Here we go. Chiefs, time to get back into it, as they always do. We see Patrick Mahomes miss a wide-open Tyquan Thornton at the 4-minute mark, which would have made the game within reach, already limited in their timeouts. Not a great situation to be in, but if they connect there, maybe they have a chance. So, you think like they're going to leave themselves they're going to be kicking themselves in the foot over that one. But no, they're not, because like 3 plays later, they do the exact same thing, and this time Tyquan Thornton is able to catch it. It's a 49-yard touchdown with 3 minutes left in the game. All the Chiefs have to do is go out there and get a stop. If the Eagles get a first down, the game's going to be over. The Eagles, they pick up 9 yards on the first. Second down, they go for the tush push, and they actually fail. They don't get it. But on 3rd down, they get the 1 yard with the tush push, and the game is over. Eagles win it 20-17 over the Chiefs. They protect their Super Bowl, legacy. They win the revenge game. Takeaways on this one: the game was close, much closer than the Super Bowl. McCarthy back in the lineup next week, but the offense is in shambles, and if Kelsey is going to be playing like this, they really have no chance. So, after that, we move into Sunday Night Football, where we had the Falcons and the Vikings take off. I don't know why I said take off. This game didn't go anywhere. This is the Battle of Mid. Atlanta started with a field goal to open up the game. The Vikings then go for it on their own 36-yard line and fail to convert. But the Falcons, they just score another field goal. The Vikings then go 3-and-out, and the Falcons fumble the ball on their next drive. Vikings capitalize with a 17-play drive that results in a field goal. And the Falcons get the ball and punt, but then J.J. McCarthy throws a pick on the next drive. So we see one more field goal for the Falcons. There's like 20 seconds left on the clock, maybe 25 seconds. A lot of fuel to go, but we see J.J. McCarthy connect with Justin Jefferson on a nasty route. Maybe it wasn't that many seconds, maybe it was like 10 seconds. Point is, heading into the half, Vikings set up a field goal. They managed to cut the lead to 6-9. Vikings start strong in the second half with another 3-and-out. Then the Falcons, they shock the world with another field goal attempt that they convert on. The Vikings, they respond with another punt, and the Falcons go 3-and-out. Then the Vikings, they fumble, and they set up the Falcons on a short field, which the Falcons use to score another field goal. The Vikings at this point down 15-6 in the fourth. Just field goals scored in this game. This is ideally where J.J. McCarthy wakes up. Last week against the Bears, he had a horrible first 3 quarters, threw that pick 6, and finally got it going. Had a magnificent fourth quarter. So that's what I'm expecting for J.J. McCarthy. Bring on the J.J. McCarthy show. So we see the Vikings face with 3rd and 1. McCarthy goes deep for a wide open Jalen Naylor on the left sideline, and he overthrows it. So that didn't happen. They're forced to punt. The Falcons, they are trying to run out the clock, and in doing so, they actually take the ball all the way down the field and score on a Tyler Algier touchdown. So Vikings at this point, they're down 16 points with 3:22. They're going to need a miracle. They need to get their offense clicking, and they haven't been able to do it all day. So they try, and J.J. McCarthy throws an interception deep in Falcons territory instead. Justin Jefferson on that play maybe hauled, like he was running his route. Definitely did get grabbed a little bit, which threw off the route. I don't know if the ball would have been in a catchable area to begin with. I don't know. But yeah. Point being, ball went back to the Falcons. They just waste time, then punt the ball back to the Vikings. The Vikings muff the punt, and they lose the game. My takeaway is there's absolutely no way that they should have been the Sunday Night Football game over the Chiefs and the Eagles. Why were we promoting college football championship game from 2 years ago as the Sunday night special? Neither of these guys need another primetime game for a hot minute. And yeah, the Falcons, usually they play a lot better than this. They get the win in this game, but this was a tough watch. In terms of other takeaways, the Falcons, they finally have a pass rush. Defense looked elite in this game. Rushing offense looked much, much better than it did in week 1. Let them have control of the game. And for the Vikings, not a single thing went right. This is one of the worst games that they've played in a long time, I feel like. Obviously, they won game 1 versus the Bears, but we have seen 7 really bad quarters of J.J. McCarthy and 1 unbelievably great one. But if the Vikings want any chance of making the playoffs, they need McCarthy to play more than once, to play well more than once every other game. Because the current rate is not a good one. But he's young. I'm sure that he'll get it together. But yeah, seven quarters of just bad Vikings football. Anywho, after that we get Monday night Buccaneers versus the Texans at 4 p.m. Western. We see the Texans strike first in that game on a 29-yard touchdown catch by Nico Collins. Buccaneers then answer with a drive resulting in a touchdown catch by Ryan Miller. Texans close out the first with a field goal to go up 10-7. And Buccaneers open up the second with a 14-play touchdown drive caught by Emeka Egbuka. And it's all punts the rest of the way for the first half. The score is 14-10 in favor of the Bucs. In the second half, we start with 4 more punts. And the game turns into a serious defensive battle. The Buccaneers finally get the ball down the field again, and they set up for and they get set up for a first down in the red zone. They end the drive with a 1-yard run, an incompletion, and a missed field goal. So not good. Then, I don't know why my watch is telling me I just achieved my stand goal. I'm not standing. What was that? The Texans build on momentum. They charge down the field, set up first and goal at the Tampa Bay 8-yard line. On first down, they get 7 yards. But then Nick Chubb gets stuffed at the goal line, and they have 2 failed pass attempts to Nico Collins. So the Buccaneers, on their next drive, they gain 44 yards, but can't muster anything else. They nearly fumble to end the drive. Baker Mayfield kind of just loses the ball. Rashad White jumps on it to make sure they don't get the turnover. But on the very next play, their punt gets blocked. So Texans take over deep in Buccaneers territory, and very quickly they're able to... Oh wait. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Texans get the block, and then on offense they do nothing. They just get a field goal. So now they got the lead to 13-14. Texans defense is able to hold the Buccaneers offense to another 3-and-out on the next drive, and on this they return the punt for 53 yards to set up right outside the red zone. Now they're able to pretty much score immediately on a 25-yard Nick Chubb rushing touchdown, and Houston takes the lead 19-14. Buccaneers, they start with the ball at their own 20 with 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. They pick up 1 first down, and then the offense stalls, setting up for a 4th and 10 in their own territory. But on 4th down, Baker Mayfield is able to tuck it and run to pick up the first down with his legs. He gains 15 on the play. After that, the Buccaneers are able to chip away at the rest of the yardage, and with 6 seconds left in the game, they score on a Bucky Irving touchdown run. Then on the kickoff, the Texans, they get tackled. I don't know what they were really trying to do. I think they have to run it out, so they ran it out. But yeah, the time expires and the game ended. The Buccaneers won the game 20-19. Takeaways from this one: Baker Mayfield, he didn't have the easiest time of this game. He's definitely played better, but he was able to benefit from a solid run game. Both Rashad White and Bucky Irving had solid days. The Texans defense, they hit hard all game long. They were hitting hard. And Baker, yeah, while he wasn't as productive as usual, I think he made very timely plays. It ended up being a big factor in them winning this game. CJ Stroud, he has no one on offense. Poor guy is floundering out there. He just has Nico Collins, and outside of that, no help. Offensive line sucks. Run game sucks. All receivers outside of Collins. You have Dalton Schultz, but the rest of them suck. And yeah, Nick Chubb, aside from that one 25-yard breakaway touchdown run. He got 18 yards on 11 carries. Bro's washed. So Texans, they need a brand new O-line for sure. But they also need a new running back because while Mixon is out, this is not getting it done. Texans need some serious help. And finally, we move into our last game of Monday night. Please, for the love of God, NFL, do not do a 7 p.m. Monday night football game again. At least as far as videos go. It's not good. It's not good for me. This is way too late. Why are you doing a 7 p.m. game? Anyway, we've got Geno starting off the game with a bang, throwing a pick. The Chargers, they can't do much. They settle for a field goal on their next drive. Raiders then respond with 3 points of their own. Both offenses take turns going 3 and out, but the Chargers are then able to score the first touchdown of the game off of a great pass to the back of the end zone caught by Keenan Allen. Raiders muster another 3 points, and both teams take turns punting once again. Chargers after that get the ball back and make some noise with a 60-yard touchdown strike from Herbert to Quentin Johnston. Vegas gets the ball under the 2-minute mark, and Geno tries to hit his own home run play, but it gets picked off at the 1-yard line, so the Chargers go up 17-6 heading into the half. Chargers start the second with a 12-play drive that results in a field goal to make it 20-6, and the Raiders respond with a 19-play drive that takes 11 minutes and also ends in a field goal. So now it is 29. Chargers then turn it over on downs at midfield because they also fumbled on 4th and 1 on a snap. We saw that like 4 times in week 2. I think week 2 has showed us that it's not smart to go for it on your own half of the field if it is 4th and 1 and it's not like the last 2 minutes of the game. Don't go for it. I think the Vikings, the Chiefs, and the Chargers all did this. And it, no, stop doing it. And Vegas then tries to respond, but Geno gets picked off deep into the red zone once again. Chargers then go 3 and out, but the Raiders, they don't get anything on their drive, turn it over on downs. The Chargers then immediately fumble. They credited this fumble to Justin Herbert, but it was a bad handoff between him and Marion Hampton. Ball comes out, gives the Raiders a chance, but they gain 4 yards and then turn the ball over on downs again, and the Chargers run out the clock to win it. Takeaways from this one. Raiders did not look good. They were very much limited. The Patriots defense made Geno Smith look elite, and the Chargers defense made him look lost. Their secondary, their coverage was outstanding. Geno did not complete a single pass over 10 yards down the field. Everything else was either picked off or incomplete. The Chargers defense is just elite. That's all you can say. And yeah, for the Chargers offense, I kind of dig it. Their leading rusher was Justin Herbert. Rushing game is not what it was last year by any means, and Hampton has really struggled in his first 2 games. But I don't mind seeing them lean on the pass. Herbert is mighty talented in the way that he's playing. I think he's re-entering that top quarterback conversation if he keeps this up, because we know how talented he is, but he just doesn't have any success to back it up. But if they take I didn't expect it. I have them out of the playoffs, which is starting to look pretty foolish, but if the Chargers can keep this up and win the AFC West, yeah, put Herbert back in those conversations maybe. So yeah, that is all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy content like this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be putting out more as the weeks progress. And yeah, I gotta go to sleep. So thanks for watching. I will see you